Do you want to know interests and options for your professional future in Paris? Stay with us and thank you for joining this live stream study in Paris with International College Paris, ICN. My name is Hugo Bustamante. I'm recruitment manager for Global Studies. And as Global Studies, we are an educational agency which helps you to apply to different destinations. You can apply to different countries with us. You just have to contact us. You can apply to the United Kingdom, Spain, Canada, Italy, United States, Lithuania, Germany, Ireland, Malta, Australia, France, and many other destinations. You just have to contact us. Here you have our WhatsApp number, our email address, and you can ask for your free guidance session. Don't forget to follow us in our social media. You can find us as Global Studies UK in Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and you will know more about the different options that our partners have to offer you. And today we are with Karen Rentschler, and she will be with us talking about International College Paris, ICN, and the different options that they have for us. Hi, Karen, how are you?
Hi, Hugo. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. It's already starting to get late here in Paris. I guess it's a bit earlier there for you guys. So thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here. Karen is Director of Marketing and Admissions at International College Paris. And Karen, here we have a presentation, please. We would like to know more about the different programs that ICN Paris can offer us, please.
Okay, well, I'm happy to start. Thank you. I'm going to talk a bit about Paris, about what ICN College has to offer, a bit about what Paris has to offer, and then I'm going to go into details about important dates, how to apply, visa applications, and tuition fees, obviously, also important. So let me get right onto it. First, why should you come to Paris and why should you come to ICN specifically? So ICN has been around for many years, and during those years, they have established quite a prestige reputation. We have a Triple Crown accredited, we're Triple Crown accredited, and that means that we are one of the few of the 1% of business schools that have this accreditation. We're also seen as a grande école in France. That means that we are one of the Ivy League schools within France. So we're very well recognized everywhere where you see French people, but also outside of that because we're quite global. We have many students. We have a big chunk of our students are international. We also have a lot of English programs, so not only French, important to know. One of the things that makes ICN interesting is that there's a lot of support for the students. There is business counseling, there is counseling with students that are falling behind. They take them by the hand. And I think one of the interesting things to see is that we have kind of a competitive tuition fee. And the approach of ICN is different as well. Yes, we're a business school. Yes, we're offering marketing. We're offering, maybe the business courses that you will see elsewhere. But ICN's philosophy is that it's combined with creativity. So instead of doing a standard interview to join a program, people will be tested on their creativity, on their way of thinking outside of the box, and the classes are not just standard classes. They will be interactive and have that creative approach as well. So that makes it kind of interesting. Just to show you a bit about the campus itself, we are in the heart of Paris. We're not in the heart of Paris. We're in the heart of the business district of Paris. And it's just 15 minutes outside of the city center, really well located. And to give an idea about the campus, so this is the entrance that you see. I'm just going to scroll quickly to see if you, to give you a bit of an idea how the campus looks. This is the entrance. There's a little cafeteria. We're going to cut to some glass. Right there is a little cafeteria. Students can, just going through the roof here, students can have classes. Here you see a bit the class. Oh, I don't know if you can show. These are the classes that students will be having classes. Trying to turn around, show you a bit the view. It's quite of a modern space, very light. And here, if you look outside, you see the business district. Going on the rooftop, which students love to spend their summer and breakfast, lunches. Here you will see that we're surrounded by a lot of businesses and other schools as well. And we are connected with many of these schools. So you will see that when students have to look for an internship, we will be able to help them to stay in the area or in France. Moving on to the other slide. I'm trying to see if I can move that myself or if I need you, Hugo. No, it's good. Yeah. So
yes,
what makes Paris interesting? Yeah, we managed. What makes Paris interesting is that Paris is becoming a big hub. It used to be, okay, you need to speak French in Paris, so we're not going to go there. But because a lot of changes have happened in the last few years within Europe, France is becoming this global new innovation hub. It used to be London and the UK, but now that London has stepped out of the EU, a lot of other countries are trying to step up and to become this new business hub. And France is doing a great job. We just had, for example, the Olympics. I'm not sure if you were able to follow some of these games. That shows that we are investing in talent, we're investing in sport, we're investing, fashion has always been around. But Paris is really investing in becoming this global new hub. You can see that there are a lot of, how do you call it, incubators, startups, a lot of options, a lot of financing. You don't have to be French to do that. And we also see in terms of language, yes, you need to learn French eventually. But we're seeing that more and more French people are speaking English. And so it's becoming easier for people to join France. Another interesting thing is obviously that Paris is really well located. We are almost in the center of Europe. So from Paris, it takes a train to go 2 hours to go to London, 3 hours to go to Amsterdam. You're in Spain in no time. So it is really well located. Another really important thing is to mention at this time around is that France is welcoming international students. We've been hearing that other places around the world are maybe less welcoming at the moment to international students. And in France, that's not the case. Right now, there's no caps. There's no countries that are on a blacklist or anything. So students are welcome here. And I think what is important for students to know is that, well, important, they probably know, but one of the things that makes it different for them to study in France is that when they come here, yes, they will improve their English. We're going to have English classes. We're going to, support their big business English, but they're also going to learn that extra language. And I think people from your region, it's a Latin language. So, students might be able to pick up French very quickly, quicker than other students from other countries. So enough about Paris. Let me go into the more detailed about the program and what we offer. So at ICN and ICN International College, you can do several programs. International College, we're offering the foundation program. This program will allow students to progress to the Bachelor in Management. Bachelor Management is a 3-year program, and the foundation is a 2-semester program. You will get these slides. I will share them later with you. So if you want to have more details, don't worry. I will share them with Hugo, and you will be able to get access to these slides as well. So we will also have the pre-master, which we call the preparatory. It's a mouthful. So let's call it PPP or pre-master. This program allows students to progress to the master programs. We have several of those available. As you can see, marketing, international business. We even have luxury, because obviously we're in Paris, a place where luxury is all around, a very popular program. Other programs that are quite popular, supply chain and corporate finance. So students have a range to look for. Usually students progress to a 2-year master afterwards. If the student already has some work experience in one of these fields, they can go to a 1-year master even, but they do need some work experience. So most of them will not reach that, and they will go into the 2-year master. Courses that we are offering and topics that we will be teaching the students in the foundation are these topics here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's important for you to understand, we are offering English, French, as I mentioned earlier, but we're also offering mathematics, how to present, business ethics. It's very comprehensive. And all to progress, obviously, and to be one of the best students during the bachelor. For the pre-master, again, it's the same as the foundation, but here we're adding more business courses. So there's going to be HR, more deeper into marketing, strategy, all these things that will help them to move on to the master and be successful there. Important dates for you to remember. We just closed the application for our January intake for the foundation, but our next intake is next September. So for the pre-master, that's the one that's coming up right now. The deadline is super quick. I know it's very short. The program is going to start in February, but students are welcome to come all the way up to 7 March. We are very flexible. So if you have last-minute students, they're still welcome to apply. Next is the foundation. That one will start in September. And what is important to know is when students finish, they can go and they can progress to the bachelor or the master of the business school. The bachelor and the master of the business school always starts in September of that year. So the business school doesn't have any programs that start in January or another time during the year, only in September for now. So if you have students that are ready to join now, they can always join our programs. Well, foundation just closed, unfortunately, but we can, but they can join our pre-master, and then they can progress already this coming September. So here's a question. Here are the answers that you have in terms of deadlines, dates. Again, we'll be sharing them with you. Fees, very important topic. Our foundation is 10,300 euro, and the pre-master, the PPP, is 7,800 euros. You can see that we're quite competitive compared to other pathway programs that are out there. And we don't have huge scholarships because of that. We've kept our prices quite low compared to others. So we are usually not offering very big scholarships, but we do offer a small scholarship to help students out with their visa applications and some costs that they make during the application. So it is 300 for now. Let me know if you have any questions regarding this. For the pre-master, students pay their their tuition fee in one go. And for the foundation, for now, they pay only 50% upfront and then 50% after 2 months. And then when they progress, they have to pay 1 month before the start of the bachelor or the master at the business school. Average living costs in France. I've made a little list here for you to see what the average costs are. Again, we will be sharing this with you. So if you have any questions with students, you can just show that to them in the future. We strongly recommend students to have 1,100 euro per month. It can be a bit little, it can be less, it can be 1,000 a month, but we definitely recommend to not go below that. As you can see, accommodation is between 500, 900 is really kind of fancy, but you can find accommodation around 500-600 euro. But if the student wants to have groceries, you want to have a phone bill, all these things will add up. And so we don't want the students to stress, and we want them to be able to be comfortable and focus on their studies. One of the questions that is usually asked around this slide, so I'm going to already give the answer to you, is can students work in France when they're studying to make a bit of a living? And the answer is yes. Students can work up to 18 hours a week. So it's not a lot, but it can still help them to, just make that extra money to spend time with their friends. It's not enough to cover their living expenses. Usually students make around 9 to 10 euros after taxes per hour. So again, that can definitely help them to cover some costs, but that's it. Here we see the entry requirements, because I see the time is ticking. Entry requirements. I put down the ones for the business school to go directly into the business school, and I put ours. The main difference that you are seeing here is the English level. So students can go directly to the business school if they have a 6 IELTS. And for us, they can go already with a 4.5. Students that have a 4.5, they are going to get extra English classes to be able to make sure that they have a 5.5 or a 6 when they progress to the business school. In terms of academic level, we don't have a big difference because technically we're both asking for a high school degree. You cannot come to us if you don't have a high school degree. The difference is that the business school is often asking for the grade good, or, I think that's a B level. And we accept a pass or a satisfactory grade, which is often a C. But it's a small difference. And in some cases, the business school. So I would really say, focus more on the English level. That is the biggest difference. And if you want to know, when students ask me, okay, why should I go to the business school? Why should I go to the international college and do the pathway? I think the biggest difference is the support. One, at the business school, you don't have French, you don't have extra English classes. You're basically expected to go into the bachelor and the master and follow the classes as is. If you come to our program, we have that extra English level. We even take students by their hand to open a French bank account, to get, how do you call it? A transport card in French. We go to the counter with our students. We set up their documents. We'll help them by the hand to get the visa, because often these things can't still be in French, unfortunately. So that's the biggest difference. ICN International College really has that soft landing for students and offers that support in French. And so they have that extra bit of French. They can do the bachelor, and obviously they will pick up French quite quick because they're young. But sometimes it can be a bit scary if they go directly to the business school. It's a new country. They have to get used to everything around, and they have to follow the other bachelor students that are coming from Europe or already speak French. So that's the main difference here. Application, we do have a portal where we ask you to upload these things, the documents that you will see here. It's quite easy, quite straightforward. There are a few steps that we require for the application. You create a document. You basically, once you submit your application, there are a few steps that are required for the student. One of this is an interview that we will be doing with the student. Only after the interview, when we say, yes, you are unconditionally accepted, that's the moment where the student will pay a deposit. Before that, there's no financial obligation. So you could say, we'll try to apply, and then we'll see, if anything happens. So there's no application fee for us. Then once the student has received the documents, has paid the deposit, the student is welcome to start their application, their visa application. I have here a very long, boring slide to show you a bit about the visa application in France. It will take basically between, if you count these weeks, it can count up to 7 weeks. Usually we'll see that it's a bit shorter. It is around 6 weeks. Some students get it in 4 weeks, depends a bit. But there are several steps that students need to take in order to get their visa. We do have a guide that we've created based on all the information that we've gathered from the sources online that will help you. A lot of steps, but it doesn't mean that the application process is actually difficult. They're just ask for a lot of information, but it's not it's, let's say, very strict as another country could be. What is important is that the student has enough funds for their visa. Enough funds means that a student needs to have, we recommend minimum €1,000 on a bank account, and the account needs to be on the student's name. The students need to have accommodation in order to apply for the visa. So that's quite unusual compared to other countries where you apply for a visa and then you look for housing. Here, the state wants students to prove that they really want to come. So students can have, for example, a reservation at a hotel for 3 months and apply for their visa. And then if they do get the visa, they can obviously cancel the reservation of the hotel and get a student housing. We will support students with their student housing. Well, I'll explain a bit more about that. So that's one thing. The money on the account, the financial support for 1 year, that's €1,000 for a whole year. Students need accommodation, and students need healthcare for 3 months, for their first 3 months in France. Afterwards, they will be put on the French healthcare system, and that's free. So they don't have to pay anything. It's just for the first 3 months. So those 3 things are important, and then they have to go through these steps and leave a lot of information behind. There's also a visa interview. And during that visa interview, the visa office is going to ask students if they know where they're going to study, if they envision life in Paris, and if they basically have a clear story and cohesive story why they want to study in France. Here are a few questions that will be asked during our interview, but also during the interview for the visa office, during the visa application. So this is just a few questions, but basically students really need to understand what the courses are that are going to be offered by ICN, how they envision to live in Paris, where they would like to live, even though they might not have their housing yet. Maybe they only have a hotel right now. Those are important things, I think, that the student needs to have. Again, these things are all written in our guide that we will be offering to the students the moment they pass the interview, basically. I think that's it. There are some questions that I've wrote already here for you, but I will leave the floor open, and then we can go through these questions later if you perhaps you have different questions that are not here already. So yeah, I think I'm a bit over time, so I'll give the floor back to you, Hugo.
Oh, thank you, Karen. That is important. As you said, we have some questions from students, and please, if you have more questions, write them down now, and Karen will help us to answer your questions, please. One of the questions says, Karen, how many hours per week students need to attend classes, please?
They need to attend minimum 22 hours. Yeah. And the classes start they start at 9 in the morning on Monday to Thursday. And we are giving students off on the Friday. So that's time for studying, or if you do want to have a job, that's a moment where you could be, potentially be working or just spend time with your friends, of course. Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. There is another question, and it is about when students graduate from an undergraduate or postgraduate courses, can they get a graduate scheme such as a working visa after the graduation?
So yes and no. The masters allow students to get a working visa of 12 months. The bachelor, unfortunately, not. However, the ICN business school offers the student in the third year, so the final year of their program, students can choose between several options, several tracks. One of those tracks is to do an internship of 6 months. And what we do is what we recommend students that are having a bachelor degree, going for the bachelor degree, is to choose that internship option. And we will help students to find a job or an internship where the company is willing to take on the students after the graduation. So unfortunately, the government doesn't offer one for the bachelor students, but instead of that, they can do the internship, do their best, and hopefully the company obviously offers a working visa for those students. What another option is, if you're doing a bachelor, is to do 1 year of master afterward, and then after that you get the 1 year postgraduate working visa. I hope I answered your question clearly.
Thank you. And there is another question. You were mentioning the hours that the students can work at the same time when they are working. That is the same time when they are studying an undergraduate or a postgraduate program?
Yes, it is. So as you can see, like we offer around 22 hours per week, and students are allowed to work 18 hours. I think it's like 964 hours a year, and no more than that in a year. So I think when they are off and they do have a holiday, they obviously can work full time during that week. But then that means they still need to make sure that at the end of the year, they don't surpass the 964 hours. So we always say it's around 18 hours a week, 18 and a half to be correct. But it's up to the company where you'll be working and you to regulate that you do not surpass the 964. So what happens as well is that some students says, you know what, during the holidays, I'm not going to go back to my country. I'm willing to have some work experience here in France. Let me see if I could work for a week, 2 weeks during summer to also save up some money for later. So that is something that students do as well. Yeah, and that's perfectly legal. Everyone can do that.
Thank you, Karen. And there is another question, please. This is about the deposit that you mentioned. How much deposit the students can pay in order to get the visa letter, please?
So for the foundation program, given the fees are a tiny bit higher, I can go back to the fees here. That is 50% for now. It might change next year, but for now it's 50%. It might go to 100%. So we will change that on the website if it moves up to 100%. And for the PPP, the pre-master, it is 100% upfront. For now, so foundation 50 now, and pre-master is 100%. One thing that is important to mention here is that you will get refunded if you do not get your visa. So you will get fully refunded. You show us that you got a letter. You have to upload the letter saying that you've the proofs that you have a visa refusal. And in that case, you get 100% of your tuition fee back. We will not keep anything. If for any other reason before the start of the program, you are not able to come, we will refund you as well. We will take a 250 euro administration process fees in that case. But it happens sometimes that your plans change, so you don't have to worry about losing that money.
Thank you, Karen. And please, here is another question about the maintenance funds that need to be showed in order to help to the visa process, please. How is the total amount that has to be shown?
Yeah. If, in all honesty, the government is now asking for 615 euros per month for the duration of your first year. Why the first year only? Is because in France, they only offer 1 year visas for students. So you will always have to renew, like midway. There's a moment where we will help you. You will have to renew for the next year. And so for the first time when you're at home and you're applying for your first visa, you will need to show that you have enough funds. And so according to the rules, it is 650 euros. But we know that this money is outdated. This is something that's been decided 10 years ago. And unfortunately, inflation makes everything more expensive. So we have seen students that only have 615 a month on their account. It's not enough. So that's why we're strict and we say, like, you know, if you want to have a good case for the visa, put €1,000 a month, so 12,000 euro in one bank account that is on your name, not your parents' name, nothing, your name. And it can be in one go. In an ideally situation, the government says we want to see that on the monthly basis, some money keeps coming in. But in reality, we see that that's not possible because students apply quite late. You know, you're coming in next 3 months and you only now decide to open a bank account. So the government is okay with that. It's a stronger case. So put your money in an account, ask your parents to open a bank account for you, you put it there. And then in the year, so you're coming to France in the next year to get your next visa, your parents keep putting a tiny bit of money on that account. So that is the case for the next visa renewal. Yeah. I hope it was clear.
Thank you, Karen. Yes. I think those are all the questions we have by now. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for being with us. If you are looking for studying in an institution with a triple accreditation, prestigious reputation, and professional excellence, contact us today and apply now to a study at ICN International College. We will guide you with all the application process. And Karen, thank you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your explanation to the students.
Here you go. Thank you so much.
You, Karen.
Have a good day. We'll keep in touch. Bye.
We'll keep in touch. Thank you, everybody, and bye. And thank you for being with us today. Bye-bye.